Hey there guys, it's Metro, and probably about a half hour before raid, got some pretty bad news. Some news that really shocked me and honestly got me really upset. I was really emotional for a while. And I figure a lot of people are going to ask me this on stream the next few days, so I've already gotten questions about it. So I figured I might as well make a full video on it, and then I could just refer people to it. But long story short, if you haven't heard, about almost think what's 700 and some, I think it's closer to 800 people got laid off from Blizzard. I don't know. People are saying there's a difference between getting fired and laid off. I guess the difference is that when you're laid off, you get perks still. Like people are still getting, some kind of severance package and some kind of prolonged, I guess maybe insurance, something like that. I don't know exactly. But right out of the gate, I want to say that this is a really sad thing. I'm really upset about it. I'm really sad. And right now, I'm not as sad. And part of why I'm not sad is because Duke just came back from a 23-point deficit in 10 minutes, with 10 minutes left to go in the game, if you watch that. But anyway, so I'm a little bit more excited about that, but I'm still really upset about this, okay? So I'm going to read this out, and I'm going to give my opinions on it, okay? And then you guys will know how I feel about it. Activision, Blizzard, whatever. So they did the earnings call today, and this is when everybody was expecting to have the information about the layoffs, and that's when it happened. So this fucking random ass cancer website is reporting that Activision Blizzard is cutting positions across its organization, including Blizzard. Layoffs at Blizzard are limited to non-development teams, both in U.S. and regional offices. Activision transferred publishing rights for Destiny back to Bungie earlier this year, so that alone seems like a really big deal. I don't know why there's not more talk about this. Maybe you guys know more about this than I do, but that sounds really bad. Doesn't that sound really bad? I don't know. Anyway, Blizzard has 35 million, what's that, monthly active user? I don't know what M stands for, but I'm pretty sure this is active users, right? I don't really know. A very misleading stat because you don't know if this means individuals like from different IPs or I don't know exactly. So again, don't know anything about this, but maybe you do. Apparently Overwatch and Hearthstone were faltering in the previous quarter. No surprise, I feel like Hearthstone's just fucked right now. But anyway, Overwatch 2 apparently saw stability. World of Warcraft saw expected declines post the expansion release this summer. This is whoever is writing this on MMO Champion. This is their opinion. I didn't actually get to read the full thing. Maybe you guys did. I probably should have. But regardless, I assume that they're probably not too happy with WoW's situation either. But maybe they are. Okay, maybe they expected this, but I can't imagine they did. Activision Blizzard wants to deprioritize games and initiatives that aren't meeting expectations. So when I read that, I think Heroes of the Storm, probably done, right? I don't know exactly what's going to happen. They already pulled a lot of support for that game. And I hope that WoW is not on that list. I'd imagine that World of Warcraft did not exceed expectations in quarter 3, but maybe with the raid coming out, I'm sorry, with quarter 4, maybe with the raid coming out in the new patch, it did. I don't know. Activision Blizzard will be reducing certain non-development and administrative related costs. So this is the thing that when I read this, I'm like, a tale of two cities here kind of thing. Non-development, right? So and administrative costs. This sounds like a great thing. When I read this, I was like, oh, this is actually really smart of them. It's like, first of all, how many administrative roles does this company have? Apparently they have like thousands of employees. Like they have so many that like the 770 some was only like 8% of the company? So they laid off 700 and some human beings, and that was only 8% of the company. I think it might have too many employees, honestly, and that might be a problem on its own. But regardless, when I heard this, I was like, oh, good, because these fucking people I don't even interact with. I don't even know who these people are, administratives. But then I quickly came to realize that non-development just means people who don't actually make the content for the game, and then things got sad in a bit. Investing more for the biggest internally owned franchises. So that is like, I don't know what that means. I don't really understand that comment, but I'm hoping that just means like they're going to double down on making the games they already have and not worrying about stupid fucking nonsense games that they don't even really work on, like the Bungie games. Anyway, more upfront releases, in-game content, mobile and geographic expansion. So in another thing I saw that they're pretty serious about, oh yeah, it's down here, about mobile. But yeah, I guess, what they're trying to do here, the summary here is that they're trying to add more people actively developing the game and less people working around the game. And, that might work out in the future. But anyway, here it is, 20% increase in development resources in aggregate for Call of Duty. Who gives a fuck about that game? Candy Crush, that's embarrassing that that's even on the page. Overwatch, Warcraft, I'm assuming that means World of Warcraft and not just Warcraft 3 or something like that. I guess it's probably all Warcraft games. which Hearthstone is technically one of them, isn't it? And then Diablo, right, which obviously, you know, was a pretty big disappointment at BlizzCon. World of Warcraft has already had a regular cadence of releases and content, and that's good. I'm glad to see that there. Like I said, we'd like to see how it was phrased in the actual earnings call, but to hear World of Warcraft mentioned in this way, I'm glad that we agree, because I don't think WoW, you know, there's anything that really needs to change in WoW's content pathing. You know, scheduling content seems almost perfect. Maybe it's a couple weeks too late at times, like I think 8.1.5 is maybe a couple weeks too late. I don't know what's going to happen now with this situation. I imagine it's probably going to get delayed. But, you know, if it didn't and it was maybe coming out in 2 weeks from now, I'd be pretty satisfied with that. So we'll see what happens. Diablo's headcount will grow substantially as the team works on multiple projects. You probably should fucking announce some of them. I don't know. This is the biggest problem with me. It's like, you know, when I went to Cali, one of the biggest things that we really got to learn was that they have a lot. They're working on a lot of different things, but they're really worried, like scared to announce anything that doesn't come to fruition. And this is probably really like stupid of me to say this, but I have a feeling it's partially because of what happened with Warlords of Draenor. I think Warlords of Draenor's time frame, the time that before it released and the time after it was released, is one of the most important time frames in Blizzard's history in general. And again, this is exclusively from a WoW player, so it's pretty stupid to say this, but I think if you think about it, it actually makes sense. Warlords of Draenor was honestly one of the most hyped up expansions ever. Everybody was extremely excited for it. Honestly, at the time, MoP looked like it was not going to be a very well received expansion, even though it was good. In like looking back at it, it was an outstanding expansion. Almost everybody hated it at the time. Very huge, a lot of negativity around it. A lot of people were very excited. A lot of people I knew personally did not like MoP to the point that they quit. They didn't like the theme of it. They didn't like the fact that, you know, it felt like we were playing a whole different universe with the Pandaria stuff, and they were really excited about Draenor because it was really a recommitment to that. And then Draenor just sucked, right? About half the content was cut. You know, not even cut. Like, it literally didn't. It never was even in the game. You know what I mean? It was announced, and it didn't even get anywhere. So I think that's probably on their minds. But yeah, I don't know. So this is my biggest problem with Blizzard right now. Is like, Diablo's headcount will grow substantially as team works on multiple projects. Well, when are those multiple projects going to be known? If you said one of them, even one of them now today, I think everybody would have felt, you know, marginally better, at least maybe like 10-15% better about this. It's like, okay, well, at least we know that they're actually doing something, because this is brought up, right? They have no game coming out. They have nothing. There's nothing coming out this year, 2019. No releases other than, I guess, Classic, you know, and that's not, you're not even going to make $1 off that, right? I guess there'll be new subscribers, but there's like nothing releasing for Blizzard in 2019 besides like random ass heroes and shit and Hearthstone. It's just like, I don't know. It's a bit worrying, I bet. Anyway, there are multiple projects underway across Activision Blizzard, so, you know, we read that. Roughly 8% of the staff were laid off, yeah. And lots of great people are looking for work, okay? And the one that really got me upset was Ythisens. Now, if you don't know who this guy is, Caden House, his real name is, such a fucking, honestly, a really cool guy. I got to meet him at BlizzCon and when we were out in Swag District in general, and you know, I had spoken to him a lot throughout the summer. Got to be good friends with him and actually Ornix. If you guys remember Ornix, actually made some videos about him as well in the past. And honestly, those two dudes were like, they were really carrying Blizzard for me. I really have to say it. Like the way they interacted with the community, I have the most respect. Like it was great. They did everything that I would have asked for. Frankly, a lot of the things that, you know, Caden said in the forums, some of them were kind of cringy, kind of embarrassing, but he wasn't scared. You know what I mean? He was out there grinding every day, making, well, you know, posting as often as he needed to, not every day, but posting very frequently, the most active blue poster for sure, in a time where pretty much everybody else gave up on it. You looked like Ornix, you know, he was going to be the one for a while. And then that big post where we actually made a video on this about the cynically negative community. And, you know, at that point, the game really took a swing for me. When I read what an actual Blizzard employee said about the community, who was a community manager, what he said about the community, it's like, fuck, man, you guys are killing this game. Honestly, like, I have to say it. And people are going to get all on my dick about it already. It's happening on the forums. People are saying, like, what kind of balls I have for blaming the community for this. Obviously, the community didn't fire Caden House, okay? But I don't know, man. It's to the point where I wonder how much you guys think you need. You know what I mean? Like, how much do you think you can just sit here and complain about the game to the point that it's not going to affect the company? And I saying that, you know, that happened and it caused people to get fired and lose their jobs, 700 people, obviously is a fucking stupid thing to even say, right? I said that earlier and I regret saying it. So if anybody's watching this who saw me say that on the forums, I apologize. I should never have said that you guys fired. Like, it's just not true, right? It has nothing to do with it. But it's like, when can we say that the game is like, you either like the game or you don't like the game, right? Checkbox number one. And then if you don't like the game, how often do we have to talk about you not liking the game? Because that's what's really wrong with the whole community for me right now. It's people who dislike the game. That's all they fucking talk about. It's like, why don't you do something else? You know what I mean? You don't like the game? Well, then go play a different one. Or go talk about a different one. Go on the fucking Path of Exile forums or the fucking whatever game you're playing. You know what I mean? Facebook games. Go on those forums. I don't know. And I think that's really the biggest problem with the community right now. And I don't want to talk about that entirely, but I'm really upset about this because I cannot help but feel, I said this before, I cannot help but feel that the people who just sit here and hate on Blizzard all day, every day, talk about an Activision nonsense, who come in the stream and say, lol, people still play this game, they won. Congratulations, man. You guys won. I sit here and deal with that shit every time I turn the stream on, at least once a stream. You know what I mean? People always come in and say a bunch of bullshit about me playing the game or the game in general. You guys won, man. Congratulations. All the people circle jerking around, you know, other top tier influencers having this crazy ass, you know, like, oh, everybody hates the game. Why do people even play it anymore? You guys won. You know what I mean? That's all. That's the way it feels. It probably has no impact on why these people were cut, but it's like, that's just how it feels to me. When I read this, it's like, well, I guess those fucking people were right, man. I guess Blizzard just does suck. You know what I mean? Because not only did they laid people off in general, but they cut people who really, I just don't get it, man. I don't know what you're doing cutting Ythisens. He was basically the only person on the forums. He was literally the only person actually doing anything on the forums. I don't know what's going to happen now with Lore and other CMs. I guess they're sticking around, but it's like there's basically two dudes who post on the forums, and he was one of them. So I was really upset about this. You know, he, like I said, he was a great person, and I'm sure he's not watching this, but if you are, man, you deserve better than this. I don't know anything about how it went down. I hope you were given like the proper, I don't know. It sucks no matter what, man. It's just a shame. Like, as soon as I met the dude, I can tell, like, this dude actually cares about World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? You meet, when you think about meeting people who play or who work at Blizzard, you think like, I'm worried about some of them being a little aloof. You know what I mean? And that's why I love, like, people are gonna again rag on me for this, but that's why I love Ian Hazzikostas being where he is. The dude is one of the top, like, most influential people who have ever played World of Warcraft, and now he's directing the game. That's just a fucking dream. You know what I mean? What other game can say that? A guy who used to run the biggest out-of-game community and one of the biggest guilds in the game, used to be the GM, still is the GM, doesn't run those things anymore, obviously. Still the GM, I guess. They still raid. How many guilds have somebody like that in power? How many games have somebody like that in power? You know what I mean? How many people are ran by people who actually, like, were serious about the game at one point? I think that's the best thing about WoW, is that it's ran by its fans. You know what I mean? So I was worried about that. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I met him outside of him having, you need to get to a dentist, man. If you're, I said this to people I came home for, you know, as a dental assistant, I noticed he's got some cavities. You got to get to the dentist. But anyway, besides that, man, you're an awesome dude, and it's just a goddamn fucking shame. And I really hope I'm wrong, but it just really feels like, you know, all these people who just sit there and just hate, just negative all day, every day about the game. And, you know, there's some people who will be like, well, we're negative about the game because we wanted to improve. How much is enough? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. How many times do we have to hear the same negative shit about the game? You don't like anything in it. You know what I mean? These people just don't like anything in it. It's like, well, guess what? It's not going to change that way, dude. So it's probably time to just move on. And I know it sounds stupid, right? Like, I want people to realize how I feel about this properly, because if you think that you can just be negative about something and that's eventually going to cause, like, change that's good for the game, I don't think you've been paying attention to this, honestly. And again, I feel so stupid equating these two, but I can't help but feel like they're connected, right? I can't help but feel like if Diablo's announcement for this mobile shit didn't have, what, if there's like 15,000 dislikes, and if all of these WoW, like, videos that there's literally nothing even wrong with them, people just dislike them because fucking streamers tell them to, you know what I mean? If this shit wasn't happening, if this wasn't happening, would they be laying off 700 people? I have to feel like that's there. You know, in the back of their minds, these executives or whoever's in charge of this shit is like, wow, look at all of our products. Nobody likes them. It's like, why are you listening to those people? They don't know what they want. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that happened. A bunch of other people. I don't really know, to be fair. I don't really know these people. But yeah, it's a lot of people who kind of just worked around Blizzard. Really, Ythisens is the big one. I was expecting more, to be honest, but maybe there is more. I think one of the EU CMs was gone too, but I don't know. So then J. Allen Brack posts this, okay? He says, Blizzard community, ... Over the past few months, I've met with many people throughout Blizzard, talking about how we create our future. One thing that remains constant, we are committed to creating epic games and entertaining experiences. Our development pipeline is strong, and we have the largest lineup of games that we've ever had. At the same time, Blizzard tries to have a level of craftsmanship and excellence in all that we do. Maintaining those standards as we continue expanding these worlds take both time and talented developers. With that in mind, we have plans to add to game development. We are dedicated to bringing you more content across existing game franchises and bringing our unannounced projects to life. Esports and Overwatch leagues are also important priorities. We'll continue to produce great competitive content. I think that's probably the thing that they're doing the best right now, to be honest. Anyway, to better support these priorities, we need to reorganize some of our non-development teams. As a result, we'll be reducing the number of non-development positions in North America and anticipate a related process in our regional offices over the coming months, subject to local requirements. This was an extremely difficult decision, and we want to acknowledge the effort of everyone who had contributed to Blizzard. To assist with this transition, we are offering each impacted employee a severance package that includes additional pay, benefit continuations, and career and recruit support to help them find their next opportunity. I don't know, like, what the fuck is that actually going to help people? I don't know. These people are members of the Blizzard family. They've cared deeply and contributed greatly to our work here, and we are extremely grateful for all they've done. As difficult as some of these organizational changes are, I'm confident in Blizzard's future, and will continue working hard to live up to not only our mission, but our expectations. And this is J. Allen Brack. I mean, this dude is probably one of the most hated people in the company, but he really has no right to be. He's actually a really good guy, too. So, you know, basically what I think the summary of it is that we have games that are not performing as well as we can. We have way too much support and not enough development, and we need to change that. So they cut, like, seems about 70% of their support, and they're going to add about 20% more development. That's a good thing. If I was in charge of Blizzard, which I'm not, and I never want to be, but if I was ever in charge of Blizzard, stop making new fucking games. Seriously, just stop making new fucking games. The games you have are too big. You can't deal with these games as they are. You don't have enough people developing them. The only reason we're in this position is because you wanted to make extra games. You didn't need to make Overwatch, one of the most popular games out there, so probably a good choice. You didn't need to make Heroes. Not really. Probably anybody ever really wanted that, you know. League of Legends, all these other games are too big for it to ever compete. All you need to do is keep going with World of Warcraft. Keep going. You know, Hearthstone was probably an easy choice. There's not a lot of time to spend on that. And, you know, I think Diablo and StarCraft. If you made those games popular again, then you'd be all set. But you got Diablo, which is basically dead, and you got StarCraft, which is basically only played by children and Asians. You know what I mean? So it's like, where are we going with those franchises? So it's a shame. It really is. But it sucks that what they had to do was this. So anyway, now I'm going to read this. Okay, this is Caden's Twitter. Give him a follow. He's getting a lot of followers today, actually. So I'm going to read this stuff here, okay? This is a really, really sad... This is what really upset me when I read this. I don't know who this guy is. Maybe it's somebody that, like, we know, but I guess he made a new account just to do this. This is the biggest thing here, okay? This guy says, I'm praying for you to get fired in the Acta Blizz $ layout. First of all, anytime I see that, I know the guy's got something wrong with his mental state. You know what I mean? Anytime I see anybody put fucking $ instead of the Z's in Blizzard, I know that you are not thinking clearly on the topic, okay? So that's it. You just labeled yourself as like a fucking... People call me a shill. That's the epitome of shilling. You don't know fucking shit about what this company does. Not a fucking dime. You don't know a thing about it, you know? And people are going to judge the company. It's like, good luck, man. Anyway, the dude says, worst community manager in history, and then a bunch of emotes. So this is what really got me upset, man. And I might start crying just thinking about it. The dude is like literally happy that somebody just lost a job. And not a developer. He didn't make the game. You know, Ythisens didn't make the fucking game. Apparently you dislike him as a CM. Do you even know what a community manager does? Because I don't. And I fucking talked to the guy. I still don't know what he does, to be honest. So it's like, how you gonna do shit like that, man? How do you have the fucking balls? And this is what we're talking about on stream on Tuesday. If you didn't watch it, unbelievable. I cannot believe the amount of people who just have such little difficulty, like so little things happening in their life, so little things to focus on in their life, that they would make comments like this on the internet. That's all I want to say on the topic. So anyway, and then 6 hours ago, which was right before raid, like literally like 30 minutes before raid, as of today, I'm no longer an employee of Blizzard Entertainment. Wasn't my choice. I wanted to retire here. I was just laid off from my dream job. Probably not best for me to tweet right now, but it was an honor being your community manager. I almost said challenge mode. It was an honor being your challenge mode Warcraft community. I love you all. It's a real shame. It's a real shame, honestly. But then, I guess Chris Metzen said, to those of you who lost your jobs today, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine your heartache today, but as a member of this wonderful community, I want to thank you for your contribution, dedication to, and passion for the worlds we love and share, ... And people are literally just spamming, we need Chris Metzen back. It's like, I don't think that would have changed anything. Probably he was getting paid a little bit too much for what he was doing there, but I don't know what to say about the whole thing. Duca pulls out, number 2 pulls off 23-point up back to Louisville. I'm glad that that's on there. But yeah, I just, I don't know what to say about the whole thing anymore, man. It's just a goddamn shame. What's he doing? Eating? It's just a goddamn shame, man. It really is. And like I said, I don't know what else to say other than I can't help but feel like you guys won. And the sad part is they're happy that they won. You know what I mean? All of these people who just want to see Blizzard fail, just realize there's real people, man. There's real people making these games. There's real people doing things that really don't have anything to do with Blizzard. They're just employed by them. You know, they don't have any decision impact. They don't have any way to change the game. You know, Ythisens, Caden, he was not really making the game, man. He did not deserve to get fired, regardless of what the situation is. Like I said, I have to believe that it's a big reason for this is because World of Warcraft, like BFA, was just. I just don't even know what to say about it. It's one of the biggest conundrums that I've ever seen in my life, honestly, in gaming in general. Pretty much everything people hate about the game was the exact same way it was in Legion, and probably about 50% of the complaints about the game are just, like, frankly illegitimate, things that don't even make logical sense, yet everybody agrees. It's like, I don't understand. So we could go on for another 2 hours about that shit, but all I say right now is that if at any point you disliked, you were part of a dislike spam on YouTube videos, guess what, by the way? YouTube is actually considering removing the dislike. In fact, it's probably going to happen. So there you go, guys. For all you guys think you're making a statement, guess what? YouTube is removing it. So that should tell you everything you need to know. It's just an irrelevant thing. Nobody gives a fuck, you know what I mean? But when you see this kind of backlash, it's like you can't help but be upset. You can't help but not be impressed with the community, you know? So I just had to get that off my chest. I know a lot of people are going to ask me about this. It's a long video, but that's my thoughts on it. I hope, I don't know what Ythisens going to do now. I don't think, frankly, I don't think he had any experience in the industry before World of Warcraft. From what he told me, he used to work as he used to work in the music field, and then he went in, he went in as a GM, like a game master. I think he worked in Texas for a while, and then he transitioned to the official offices in Cali and Swag District, and he worked as an assistant, I think he was assistant community manager. I still have his card over there on the table, assistant community manager. So I guess, you know, he's the lowest on the totem pole there, but I just don't know what to say, man. It's such a shame. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully I'm wrong about this. I'd love to be wrong. I hope that this is just somehow related to other franchises, not just WoW. But I guess if I was to say one thing, if you guys love World of Warcraft, talk about it. Let people know. Tell others that you're happy about the game. And if you don't like World of Warcraft, feel free to tell us why. You know what I mean? Just let people know why. But if you're gonna just perpetuate memes and give honestly no credit to expansion, you're gonna blame a company that you literally you probably don't even know who runs. Like you probably don't even know the people who are in charge of it. You couldn't name a single person. If you saw a picture of him, like when Matt Harvey was walking around New York City and nobody even knew it was him, you probably couldn't even tell who these people are. You don't know a thing about the fucking company. So just stop talking about Activision. You don't need to talk about it. You don't know anything about it. When we talk about the World of Warcraft development team, you probably know some things about that. But it's just, I don't know, man. The whole like climate around this game and this company is just, I can't help but feel like it has contributed to this. So I had to get that off my chest. Thanks for watching. I'm sure there'll be some interesting comments. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, and yeah, I'm going to read the comments on the tier list this weekend as well, by the way. So if you haven't commented on the tier list, feel free. It's picking up steam, so hopefully by the weekend we'll have a good amount to read. So anyway, thanks for watching. Caden, you're going to be missed, man. Thanks for stopping by.